got a postcard from the Retro Main Game. Right, coming up on this week's Retro Robbins show, we're going to have a look at a couple of new Commodore games, isn't that right, Emo? He's dancing away. As well as some Spectrum games, a couple of new ones that are not so new. As we go back to Crash re-review, indeed we'll be hitting 1989 again. Is there some great memories from that year? Who knows? So, if you love a bit of retro gaming fun for this weekend, with me, Wayne, why not chime in now on the Retro Robbins show? Who knows, you might even enjoy yourself. Preferably don't binge watch it while having a few beers. That's not good. Someone said they did that actually, believe it or not. I think that's enough for me. Run tiles, let's get on with today's show. Good timing for the change. Hello and welcome to the Retro Robbins show with me, Wayne. So if you love a bit of 8-bit, well, guess what? You're in the right place. What's on today's show? Well, let me tell you now. We're going to have a look at two new Commodore games. That's right, Commodore 64 is coming into the Retro Robbins show. And I've got to have a look at a couple of new games. One of them is a recreation of an old game that was done badly back in the day. And more coming up on that in a moment, of course. We're going to be having a look at some more new Spectrum games. One or two I've seen on Facebook, so I'm going to give them the Retro Robbins treatment and give them a bit of a review. Say a big hello there to Emo, my AI dancing robot. I've got ahead of myself there. I was trying to stumble over my words before I could even get them out of my mouth because I like to speak really fast and loud and true. Doesn't always work though. And of course, if Emo plays up, I've got my big stick to give him some stick. Come here, Emo. What are you doing? Oh, look. He's dancing, isn't he? I'll leave him dancing. I can't hit him while he's dancing. He's the dumbest AI robot I've ever come across, but boy, can he move those moves to the ALY tunes, including he can move to the C tunes as well. So, yeah, he's loving it there. There's a card underneath his face, and I think he's wobbling about. Okay, what else is on today's show? Hopefully, we're going to have a bit of Commodore versus Spectrum, all depending on time. Well, I want to keep it within the hour, you know. Small. Big shout out to Lee Chop Stevens for posting that up on Facebook. I've sent him a few bits, of course. He's a collector and he's building up his stuff. A big shout out to Stefan, who decides to binge watch the Retro Robbins show after a few beers. Fair play. Not my sort of viewing it. I don't know, maybe I could binge watch the Retro Robbins show after a few beers. Or Mark Fix's stuff or something, but I don't really drink because I drive, so it's probably best that I stay away from that. Also on today's show, I will be using the Engo clone of the Spectrum Next. For the first time, I'll be using it with the Engo clone keyboard. That's right, a lovely tactile feel to the keys. However, no, it's not the rubber keyboard I'm using, it's a more original keys. I'm going to take a little bit of getting used to, that will. And supplying, as always, the AY chin will be the toast rack in the background to give it a little bit of atmosphere, as well as the Harlequin 128k RAV that I sold it up and made myself and put it in a beautiful case. I've done about 5 of them now, and they're all pretty good. They've got the AY chip in, and they're like it's like having a 128k computer in a rubber keyboard. It just doesn't quite look right, but it works great. So let's get on with today's first review of a new game for the Commodore 64. And as always, if you like today's show, please leave a comment and I will do my best to get back to your comments, which obviously sometimes people comment nearly 6 months after I've actually made the show. So I don't see it, and then when I look back and I see there's a new comment, I will try and reply to everybody. And if you'd like a shout out on today's show, please remember to send me a message and I'll happily do that for you. With that said, let's get on with today's show. So we're just loading this game up. Amaurote. Of course it was under a different name for the Commodore. Not good enough to be called this, to be fair. This game on the Spectrum is an absolutely fantastic, and indeed it was a budget game as well as the Atari, and of course it's an isometrical game. But unfortunately the Commodore version first time round wasn't even called this, but it was that game, and it was a top-down version because it was, well, very poorly done indeed. In fact, when I did Commodore versus Spectrum of the same game, obviously Spectrum smashed it. So we're going to have a look at a little bit of information about it. There's the guys responsible for doing the Commodore version of this game, which we're going to load up right now. There we go, loading it up. Straight away, great, nice looking opening screen. Very green. Using the most of the SID chip, of course, is the Commodore on this particular game. So, I felt the Commodore was shortchanged with this game compared to the other system ports of it, which indeed on the Spectrum is a really good play. One of my favourite games, to be fair, because it kept me interested for hours on end. Just having a little bit of a listen to the SID. Right, because I've got a version where I can cheat on it, when I press the next button, it's going to give me a few options, so let's hit the return. Obviously we're going to pick various skill levels, which will come up any minute now. The autofocus will catch up. I'm going to go for easy. Why not? Cheat on it? Yeah, go on then. And do I have an accelerated? No, I don't have the accelerated version. Right, there we go. Straight away you can see it's more, shall we say, high-res graphics for the Commodore rather than, you know, the large blocky colours. But then it is indeed monotone. I do notice that on the Spectrum the scrolling of the background there is a little bit faster, where the Commodore it seems a little bit sluggish. It may be a limitation caused by the hardware. After all, these are quite old now, aren't these computers, even though they're forever young in me. Right, so we're going to press start to select the game. You use joystick import number 2. And just like the Spectrum, you get to select your screen. We're talking the 48K version, of course, which won't have any sound, but the 128K version does have sound. Well, the Commodore has sound to start with. But this I'm not too sure about. If you notice in the corner there, your robot almost disappears off the screen. I don't think you get that with the Spectrum, but we'll definitely have a review of it. So we'll just select one city in random here to see how it plays. So you don't get that amazing intro sequence you get with the 128K version, but you do get a SID sound in the background. Not quite the SID sound of the spooky music though, and I'll be honest, I absolutely prefer the spooky music, but it's nice that you actually have got a sound. Now, how easy is it to hit these flies? Well, as always, you've got to get a little bit of a distance before launching your bomb, and I think I've just missed him. Yeah, I've missed him, and now that will bounce on forever until it stops flashing. Well, actually I've actually hit something, so I got lucky there. The flies do pursue you quite nicely, to be honest. Yeah, and once he's aligned himself, get yourself, hopefully this time I've got him. No, oh yes I did. And you notice he just disappears. There was absolutely no explosion there at all. And now I've got two of them chasing me, so I can move away a bit faster. No, not quite. I'm a bit stuck here, so I might have to go and press, for this to get rescued, you have to press stop run, and you get all the usual options. However, I haven't worked out the keys yet to select what it is you're chasing. I'm just trying to get out of the way of these flies. There seems to be a whole line of them after me, and that indeed, well, 4 of them. Wow, 4 of them now chasing me. 5 of them now chasing me. Surely that is going to cause a system breakdown for the Commodore. Yeah, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, that's quite a number of graphical sprites. And as you can see, the poor little machine has slowed right down there when there's that many on the screen. Just need to get a good run. And now there's only one on the screen, it's speeded up a touch, so yeah. But as I'm sort of trapped here, aren't I? Wow, I'm going to have to go for the rescue, I'm afraid. So we press stop run for the rescue. That should just lift me up and relocate me somewhere where there's a few less creatures to attack me. So, although the music itself is not bad, and let's have a look at the district damage. I'm going to just throw a bomb at that there. it just disappears. There's no actual explosion, where on the Spectrum you do get a slight explosion, look. But it's a long overdue port. The Centurion, although nice, I wouldn't, they instantly follow you, these ones, don't they? You don't, normally on the Spectrum version, in order for them to locate you, have to touch them slightly. That should get him, surely. No, oh yes. See how the bomb went behind the tail in order for him to disappear? That is a shame, really, because if you hit them smack on, or it looks like your bomb, oh look, wow. Yeah, this is an issue with it, really, is when you get too many following, it does slow it down slightly. But we'll see if I can get one. Though that seemed to hit them smack on, and he only got the one that he seemed to miss. So that's a shame. But generally speaking, the game itself is not bad at all, and it's great to see a version of this for the Commodore that plays exactly, not quite as fast as the Spectrum version, but it's got all the elements of the isometric glory that this game held. Obviously, I'm going to still prefer the Spectrum version because it does play a lot quicker, and you've got and you've got the explosion of the buildings in there as well. But finally, I gotta say, this is a much better port, and for that reason, for Commodore to achieve this is really good. I'm going to give the team a good 8 out of 10. So if you're a Commodore man and you're a Commodore fan, give this one a go. It'll be a good play. It's a little bit slower moving than the Spectrum, but indeed, well done. Finally, the Commodore got a game that's worthy of the system name Amaurote. Do you agree? Leave your comments in the comments below. Bear a Grudge is the AY tune playing from the toast rack in the background. Right, we're going to go back a little bit in time. Not too far back, just a little bit, and that's a little bit which is around about 12 to 14 years. To this gem of a game which I've seen played, and I thought I'd have a go and give it a little bit of a rating. I'm going to load up the Z80 file. Using my Engo clone, of course. That is the opening screen, and of course you get the opportunity to redefine your keys, which I was always impressed with that. So what's the first thing we do? Using this, we're gonna a little bit on the information what it is you have to do. So you've got a free Octo who's locked up in chains. There are various items there that you can collect, which will give you energy and health, of course. You'll need to collect apples and lanterns along the way to help you. For instance, you'll see why you need the lantern, and you need to collect those 3 keys in order to unlock the chains that are binding your octopus. So let's redefine the keys. Left and right, okay. I'm not used to using this tactile keyboard, so this could go very well or horribly wrong. And I've put quit and pause the wrong way around, but it doesn't matter because I'm not going to carry it out. Oh, that's the guy that's chained up there. I like the way his eyes follow you around the screen. So you can, these things can be destroyed, I believe, but we'll have to find out more about that later on. We're going to just down the depths and dive as low as we can. And the problem is with this game is it's very, very, very maze-like. So there are a lot of dead ends, and for instance this is too dark for me to navigate around, so I need to get a lantern. Otherwise you're just going to end up hitting dead ends everywhere, and if you keep going on off the screen you'll get that message back, so we'll avoid that for now. And we've got our potential first key there we've collected for a yellow type 1, and we can't probably use it until we get a lantern, because I believe there is a yellow one there. Anyway, we'll head up back towards the oh, it's annoying. I want to get off the screen, thank you very much. There you go. Right, we'll head up back to the top, see if we can collect the food. If you can see those 3 little fish in the bottom, as I would say, left hand corner of the screen, which is literally down that end, they're slowly disintegrating, so you need to get food in order to re-energise your fish, who is looking like he's wearing a cap of mine. There you go, he is no longer becoming a skeleton, so we're good to find that. Now the screen change from is so quick, it's just there instant, isn't it? Which was a great quirk of the Spectrum, to be honest. And we're heading back towards the surface now. There are a lot of dead ends in this game. It's really quite hard to navigate around. For instance, you can't go past this rope, but you can carry on diving down and you will probably find a lot more dead ends. Oh, I just collected that. No, I didn't. I collected that earlier. But we'll leave that there because we know it's there for when we collect more fish. The tile background is just black. The graphics though are really quite nice. The manoeuvrability of the game is really quite fast. And believe me, news, we've seen our first baddies there. They're nothing to be worried about, the fish. But there are baddies that do follow you around the screen, which I find quite difficult to avoid. As you can see, I've got one key, but I've got nowhere to put it just yet. There they are. See those big munching things? They will follow you, look. So you want to avoid them if possible. And yeah, you just got to outrun them, to be honest. So after a good play, there's the yellow, look, there's one. And I can get to that one, so we can probably free up. There we go, that should go there, should it? I don't know, does that should open a doorway somewhere, shouldn't it? So we got to get one for each one of these. The game itself, I like. It's very quiet, as I say. Listen, take the music out in the background. If I could just turn that down a touch. Oops, what's happening? Lost my controls. Oh, here it is. There is no sound at all. So, yeah. What do I think? Well, as a maze game and a little game for a challenge from 2008, I think it's really nice, and I really enjoyed playing it for that reason. I'm going to give that an 8 out of 10. Yes, it's from back in the day, but one for you to try, so enjoy and give it a game. Just turn the AY music off in the background because this next game that we were going to have a look at indeed has some great AY music in it. Wow. And there you go. Remember the Ultimate Play the game as you was loading, you used to get that sound? Well, that's just a slightly shorter version of it. The game is Bomb Buster. Bomb Buster. I didn't even bomb all the way there. And there you go. Great little loading screen, really. Nothing too much to it. So let's hit this game and see what it's all about. Straight away, lovely little jivey type AY tune. And I thought Emo will be dancing to that. I'll put him on charge for now. Just let you have a few butchers of this. So you've got your choice of the keyboard, Kempson Sinclair as always. I'm going to use this bad boy today and see how this plays. So straight away it's got a great loading screen, it's got a great AY tune. There's not a lot happening on the screen at the start, but that's not what the game's about, it's about the actual gameplay itself. So we're going to press number 2. And give it a go. Well, there you go, you've got to collect those green things. Though heart is your lives, and indeed, unfortunately, there is a time limit. So before we can do anything at all, we need to get up to the top of the screen in order to collect that rotating like green, what looks to be like a bomb, but it's not, I don't think. Maybe it is. Once you've got that, you're able to fire. Once you're able to fire, you're able to destroy the enemies. Oops. And there you go, that was the first screen, pretty easily done. The AY starts again once you start the game for the second time round. Gets a little bit more complicated this time. There are more baddies on the screen and the baddies can collide with each other, which can instantly change the direction that they travel in, which causes me to panic and then die. So yeah. Once you get the bomb, that's when things get a little bit easier. And just keep firing until eventually you destroy that. Yeah, go bust. I might do that later on. Now, 4 baddies to control and a whole lot of timing sequence required. And it's that double bounce when they collide each other that can catch you out, because you can time it so as you're heading up the screen. Yeah, and if your feet are hanging over too far, then it can go horribly wrong for you, like it just did. And I can't stay there, but oh, nearly. Once you get the item, obviously you need to be able to shoot. See how they bounced off, and I was going to jump then and oh, and if you miss. It's a tough game, and I'll tell you what I like about it. I love the fact it's got that AY music that's in the background, not repetitive at all. A great sprite as well. Looks like he's got one seriously big afro there, doesn't he? Or is it a hair? Hair comes further than my nose does out of his head. So yeah, playable wise, absolutely very playable. And with the music in the background gives you that intense, sort of like an arcade feel. Time limit wise, you don't get an awful great deal of time. As you can see, the time slowly ticks down, and if you're too slow, eventually it'll say time's up. But it is a very playable game. I gave that an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed playing it. I found it quite challenging. I've won a number of screens off camera, and definitely one for you to give it a go. And it's fairly fresh out, so yeah, give it a go. I enjoyed it, and I like it. So that's all I've got to say about that one. Moving on then. Next game I've seen played is indeed a racing game. It's going to be 48k only. They don't really do 128k AY versions of this. Brief look at the loading screen. I'll tell you what, we need to do better than that. And of course, oh, that is the music you can hear in the background. I think we'll do a longer look at the loading screen actually. So there's the developers, and they're quite known for quite a few games that have come out recently, based in Russia of course, and they do some great games. But let's have a look at the loading screen now. Yeah, I'm loading it by a tape. I like it. I've saved the tape file onto a tape because I've got the recording equipment, so I'm able to load it via the tape. However, this is just a recreated version of the tape using the Raspberry Pi Zero, which is in my Engo clone, which is what I had to do to upgrade it about 6 months ago, which I find good. Right, we're looking at a great looking little loading screen there. I cannot see a little bit of colour clash perhaps on the lady in red just over one eye, but generally speaking everything is appropriately placed to avoid it as much as possible, and it is indeed a comical look at you know, it reminds me, oh, I can't remember what is it Dick Dastardly? He kind of reminds me of that, but the loading screen itself, well, it looks absolutely pretty good and very well done. Website of course is there. You'll be able to get this I believe on digital download for free, so help yourself. Unfortunately at the moment, due to the situation, you won't be able to tip or donate of course, as well as the shop being closed, which is a shame for Natasha, because you know Russian people are not Russian politics, remember that. They're only allowed to see the propaganda that is broadcast to them, and a lot of them are indeed blocked socially on media. So let's not hit upon our Russian friends over there that are just genuinely everyday people like you and me. Let's move on to actually playing the game and see how it plays. Game just loaded, and Obviously no AY tune, so you get a bleeper sound. Just drop the camera down a little bit. Might cause a few autofocus problems when I start moving the camera around mid-show. Right, let's go to 5. We're going to redefine the keys. So we've got throttle and brake, left, right, and I think we'll use space for turbo. So we've got a racing game, and it's not just a racing game because you will get attacked by fellow players. So we're going to put some tunes up now, because as soon as we start the game, the only sound you're going to hear in the game is sound effects of the racing itself. So what do we do to start it? We'll press number 1, of course. I'm using keys, so it takes a little bit of time registering, doesn't it? Or should I just go for the Kempson? It doesn't want to register 1. See, yeah, okay. So to press start, you must have to press fire or turbo. I see. I didn't even read that bit, did I? So it's my fault. Stage 1. So we get straight to turbo. The scrolling's quite nice actually. The background in the back's very good. I like just the simple look of the clouds. Very well done. A little blue. And the handling of the car itself is quite nice. Ah, you get a graphical character. Oh, he's throwing axes at me, is he? So let's turbo away from him. And if he gets an axe on me, then that is I am done for. Oh, and I am indeed done for. So he's caught me there. But we've got to try and get past these ones. And the only way you can do that is just to keep driving as hard as you can. The bends come quite quickly. And I'm not going to avoid him. So maybe if I barge him, you must have to barge him off the road. Lap 2 of 2, and I'm not doing too good because I'm behind. So I'm going to barge him off the road, have I? Okay. Oh, nearly. Oh, I got hit a few times. Oh, I've got past him, that's okay then. And I've got past him, lap 2 of 2, so I'm actually going to... as long as I stay on the road doing okay. Starting to get panicky now. I'm starting to get under the pressure. As soon as you see a name appear up in the top, oh, don't want to crash. Yeah, the Viking. Got to get past him, haven't I? So, and there's the sword. Oh, of course. I finished. You lose. That doesn't surprise me at all. Lives left free. What do I think of the game? Well, it is a good little game. It's a good little racing. A little bit difficult, but fairly good scrolling. And it's well coded, to be quite honest. You can't knock it. Is it one I'd play? Well, I've got travel through time to go through. So travel back in time, is it? Which I'm enjoying at the moment. And of course, I've got the Metal Man remix, which I'm also enjoying and trying to complete. And yeah, but for a free downloadable game, go get it. Why not? You know, give it a play and enjoy it. These games, you know, developers won't be doing this forever, so let's make the most of while they're doing it. And yeah, out of 10 then. Compared to a lot of other racing games, it's really good, but it's a little bit like Marmite, shall we say. You either love it or you hate it. To me, I'm only going to give that a 7 out of 10 because of other games that have been racing have been great compared to this, but it is good. It's just not great, if you know what I mean. So that's my personal opinion, of course. You may differ. Leave your comments in the comments below. I'd just like to say that. Oh, do you know the sound of the tune in the background? What game it's off? And if I haven't told you already, then that will give you something to ponder over, and I might reveal that towards the end of the show. Or I might just do it next. Have you worked it out yet? Alright, shall I tell you? It's from my favourite shooting game, Bosconian. I just call it Bostacan. That's 128k version music in the background. Also great Mastertronic game from 1987, that version was. So Bosconian 87, and I think he's brilliant. Right, what was he going to do? Yeah, another Commodore game. Ooh, 2 Commodore games in one day. That's unusual for Retro Robbins, but we'll give it a go. This game I've seen, it's fairly modern. Developed by Konami in 1982, was it? A basic arcade game that she's converted to the Commodore, and yeah, well, okay. I need to remember where I've put my joystick. I've just covered it up. Chuck that over the top of it, I couldn't see it. This will have music, and hopefully, oh, difficulty. We can change that, can we? Come on, who thought I was going to go expert? Okay, so you're this little guy here. And you've got a big maze to go around. Fortunately, oh, I'm skeletonized. You can only fire left and right. Right, so obviously this must be a tunnel you go through. Indeed it is. There's a key there. I'll need to collect that in order to get further in the game. So now we've done that, we can scroll across the bottom. The scrolling is really nice on this. Collecting what looks to be a diamond ring. They do actually pursue you around the screen. Obviously they're going to appear from wherever any of those green holes come from. Oh, there's something there I need to collect. They look like bats, don't they, or something to that side. Just to make it rain next time. Right, so we got the key. We can get through this gate here now. And I've got a bonus for that. So obviously the map stage 2. So that was stage 1 complete. We get round again, and we've got to do the same all over again, no doubt. Obviously to collect all the rings is going to be quite tricky, especially when there's that opening right there. Ooh. Oh, that was in the nick of time. Oh no, I can't go there. Gotta hope that he don't appear there. That's great. I can see there's a ring up there I need to collect. So the bat ones actually home in on you, but the those ones don't home in on you. They just sort of follow you around, don't they? I get there. Well, I like it, and I must admit the game's plays quite well, and I'm doing really good. Stage 3. Let's give this a go. I'm trapped. See that panic there? That's professional gamer expertise in action. Oh, great! There's a lot of moving coaches on the screen here. Wow, that was almost a directional firing control. Well, I've already got a key, have I? Okay, so I've got to find the gate then. Ah, so if I go out the top there, which I'm not going to just yet because it was... Stop. Ah ha ha. Right then. Oh crikey. I can see another gate. I don't know how to get there. I've got a key to open that gate. So there's the other key that I've got to collect. Must be back there. Okay, what do I think of the game? Well, I'll tell you what, for the Commodore game, I really enjoyed playing it. It's quite a decent sized map. It's very playable, very good. Shame there isn't any real SID music in the background, but look at that. What do I put? Ace? Yes, why not? Because that's probably the best score that I'm going to go. Let's put a bit of credits up on the screen. Great. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Let's bring up some AY tune there. I thought it was really well done. So for that, as a Commodore game, I'm going to give that an 8.5 out of 10. So if you like your Commodore games and you have not played that one, give it a go. And yeah, I didn't have no problems downloading it free of charge. And I'm sure that if you can dip the coders in any way, shape or form, feel free to do so. But I really did enjoy that. That played on an original Commodore C64C, of course. Moving on to some Crash re-reviews now. Great AY tune in the background here. Listen to this bad boy. Right, we're going back in time, back to 1989. Indeed, March number 62 of Crash issue, and it would have cost you £1.25. So, what was the big Crash smash? Well, there was Run the Gauntlet, which had a rating of 92%, and who was that boy? I can't remember. Let's look that up. £18.99 or £14.99 for the disc version of that. I should have put Emo on the desk there, because his dancing skills would have loved this, no doubt. Right, this particular game that we're going to go for, which I'll show you in a moment, I'm not going to reveal too much just yet. I'm going to play the 128k version, hence the reason why I'll probably have to just dip that volume in the background. Let's give you the presentations. Will it cost you £8.95 or £14.95 on disc? Ouch. Not going to bother Alexander Armstrong today. We'll leave him out, shall we? Presentation 73%, graphics 70%, sound 67%, playability 70%, addictive quality 65%. Its overall rating we'll hold on to in a moment. Let's have a look at the game. Yes, WBC Le Mans 1988 by Imagine Software. I've got the Z80 file highlighted there, so when this starts, we will instantly into the game. I'm turning down the music for a reason, because this has a fantastic little loading screen, to be honest. Konami, of course. Obviously this could be an arcade conversion. I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me. So there's your opening screen. You've got the scrolling text at the bottom. You've got all the usual options. Kempston keyboard definable keys. I do like a game where you redefine your own keys to your own particular choices. Especially for left-handed, right-handed people, it can be a lot better for them, which is good. You get your usual high score table. Now, everyone has a theme tune in the background when you're playing this. This doesn't, this just has sound effects. However, the sound effects are reasonably okay. So, let's select Kempston and let's give this game a play and see what we think of it. We'll put some in the background. So, you've just got the sound of the acceleration. And the controls are quite easy, the scrolling's quite smooth. And indeed the horizon rises as you go up a hill, giving you that feeling that you're going uphill. And if you press fire, you can change gear and go faster. Now there's like an almost barricade of cars there. So I was never going to get past them, was I? Okay, the time is running down quite quickly. You need to get to a checkpoint, but I do like the clouds and the sky are really well done as well. That's the second game there. Use of bright and not bright to give it a difference in levels, if you know what I mean. Oh, I haven't accelerated, that's it. I'm not one for braking, and sometimes the cars actually are almost the size of the road, which makes it hard for you to get past. Now there is a bit of an unfair thing in this game, which I found, that sometimes when you start it off, if you just lap somebody, oh, I've got the extended play, and you ended up crashing, if they come from behind you, before you even had a chance to get going, you end up crashing again. Like for him, if I was in his path and he come from behind me, it would have made me crash instantly, which I don't like, because how are you supposed to see what's behind you with no rear mirror or anything? So they're a little bit blocky, the cars, and I've actually managed to get round too. That's quite a surprise. Scrolling's okay. It does give you that feel that you are travelling quite fast, and I've held the road quite well. See, I'm warming into the game now, warming into it and getting better, and I don't want that to be famous last words. Yeah, I better use my brake, can't I? Oh, I broke, and because you're travelling slower, you will move across the road a lot faster, which means I went straight into the trees. So yeah, the cars at times are almost the same width of the road. As you can see, I'm out of time. No good. So the overall rating of that game, and I didn't even threaten the scoreboard, did I? That doesn't surprise me. Overall rating of the game was 66%. I actually thought, yeah, that's close, but it just deserved a little bit more than that. I like the opening tune, I like the opening music. The game itself is a little bit unfair playable wise, simply because if you didn't get to see it there, it happened to me before. I've crashed, cars come from behind me and made me crash again, which no, I didn't like. It just caught me block, by the way, if you're wondering what that jerk was. I dropped my notes. Maybe this is one that you played back in the day and you enjoyed, who knows. Hopefully I've brought you a little bit of a reminder of a hidden gem, who knows. Me personally, I'm going to give that a 7.5 out of 10. Why not? I'll give it an extra bit more rating, because I thought it scrolled quite well. It did have that unfair thing, but the graphics and the, were quite well done. Car's a little bit blocky, not intolerably so, but the fact it was a bit too wide. So let's move on to the next one. We're not going to do too many of these today, because we want to get obviously a Commodore vs Spectrum in this show is getting quite long. Next game up on the line is the Human Killing Machine, which is loading really fastly indeed. We're going to have a look at this in a moment. As soon as it loads, it might crash this version, to be quite honest. Let's give you the rating in the meantime. So, what we got? £8.99 or £12.99 for disc. Of course, by Go US Gold. Quite good, actually. Presentation 70, graphics was given 79%, sound 61, playability was given 68, addictive qualities was given 73, its overall rating then was 73%. My expectations of this particular game, no real colour in the loading screen, it looks very blue, it's okay, it's not brilliant. Now that's loaded, I need to do one thing more, and that's change the AY tune. So, new AY tune. Oh, I love this one as well. Straight away, Sinclair keyboard, or C for Kempston. I've gone with Kempston. Oh, I tell you what, before we do anything else, we need to change the speed of this, don't we? So we've got a fighting game, and you need to hit them. You've got their power meter there, all monochrome, of course. Their blows seem to do a lot better than yours. However, I find if you stay low, you're able to kick them a few more times than them actually kick me. Hopefully we'll get a knockout. And just when you think he's done, he always comes back to the last blow. Oh, I've got a knockdown. Get in there. It's unusual for me to actually get one. So, yeah, straight away, you've got all types of kicks, flying kicks and all sorts, which are usually not a good idea to go high. I'll tell you that now, because usually when you go high, that's when you die, because their blocks are pretty good. yeah, by just skipping down on the low kick, I find that's probably the most effective solution with this game. Now, because it's a large, shall we say, character that you're moving around, you do get that terrible delay when you press the button. But, you know, if you can work around it, the game as itself as a fighting game, it's not exactly Way of the Exploding Fist, but it is okay, and it's fairly responsive. This got, well, it got a reasonably good rating, didn't it? So, graphics in the background are nice. At no period in the gameplay do I look like I've lost the character in the background, because you can always clearly see them. And that's the benefit of having something like that size. Once you've scored a certain amount of knockdowns, you move on to the next, which is in this case, the wolf. I'll see if I can get a good defeation on him as well, because it's unlikely to have... and you need to basically use the floor kick a lot, really, in this game, especially with the wolf, because they only have to bite you a couple of times and you lose quite a bit of energy. I'm doing okay, am I really? I don't know how clearly this is coming up. Ooh, see if I can get a few more blows. As you can see, you've got to get him. And the music in the background, by incidentally, is played off the Harley Quinn one I've soldiered up, not the toast rack. Hence, you would have a stereo sound, but unfortunately, you won't get the benefits of that. This is not for this particular game. Just need to point that out. Come on, a few more blows and you've gone. Oh, I timed that well for the music as well, didn't I? I've got to get him again. I believe I've got to get him again. One more last attack, come on. I'll tell you what, he's got a little bit more energy than me. Best to keep backing away as well, walking in a little bit, because each time you kick them, you do slightly move further away. You know, it's just as if you're sliding away. Oh, one more, but look, see how he's bit me and he's taken quite a bit of energy there. Oh, he's built his engine back up as well. Got him. I think that's the 3 knockdown scored, isn't it? Yeah, it counts down to the amount of times. Oh, and now we're travelling to a new area, so obviously we should get a different scene in the background. And of course, this time I'm going to go for a few more punches in the face. A street view, shall we say. Oh wow, kicked me and destroyed me in one go. Well, this game came out quite late. It's a shame it hasn't got some sort of fighting music or AY tune in the background, but generally speaking, it's an okay game. It's an okay play. A little bit sluggish, but not entirely possible. And you really do have to be careful. I've just got my arse handed to me there. I don't want to play you no more. Oh well. Overall rating on the Human Killing Machine at 75%. 75%, really? Oh, she's just kicked me where she shouldn't be kicking. Oh, that's your reference. Sorry. Bit of concentration. Oh dear. Perhaps not. Right, marks out of 10. I'm going to give that. I'm going to agree with Crash. I'm going to give that a 7.5 out of 10 for a fighting game. It's great. I mean, Angels was brilliant, but look at the size of the sprites. Background being monotone doesn't necessarily need to be completely monotone, does it? Apart from the colour which you've got in the meter, perhaps a bit of the background could have been coloured in a little bit, depending on how much memory they've got. Perhaps they could have done that, but I think personally there was a bit to spare when I actually looked through the code myself. So, I don't know if you've played that before, but it was the first time I played it, and I've got quite well. It's a playable game. So, yes, I would totally agree with Crash there, 7.5 out of 10. What do you think? Is this one you'd like to play? Give it a go. Right then. Sinclair Spectrum's been on a bit of a hiding when it comes to Commodore versus Spectrum lately, because Commodore have just notched up win after win after win after win, and that's not good. So will that continue? Well, surely by the law of averages it cannot. So we're going to re-review an old game that I played first on the Commodore and this time on the Spectrum, and we're going to see which one is the better version. The game in question, well, that's coming up right now. So stay tuned for Commodore versus Spectrum. Not the game, but this is the game loading, and this is on the Commodore. And while it is loading, you get an in-game loading game, just like on the Spectrum's Joe Blade. So I thought I'd show you this little quirk of the actual game itself loading. And I'm getting my... So because of that, I've had to go for the re-review of a game that I've already done versus Commodore versus Spectrum. And as you can see, it's a little bit jerky, but if you clear the screen, I don't know if you get any bonuses or not, but look at the amount of bullets coming down. Fortunately, your firing doesn't block the bullets. Anyway, while we hide from that, let's see how we get on when the game is actually loaded. Yep, game's loading. And that's what you get to play while the game is loading on the Commodore. Incidentally, you don't get that on the Spectrum version by Mastertronic, of course. I've seen that done before with a couple of Joe Blade games, and I'm sure there are many more games that started to do that. Oh, that seems a bit loud. Music by Matthew Logue, of course, in the background. Thank you, Matthew, for that. That is something that is just basically in my possession. Right, so... usual drill with this, S to start, R to report, H for high scores, which I won't ever get any close to. We're going to play the Commodore version first and then compare it to the Spectrum version to see which one is the best. Right, now because you've got a tune in the background, this a little bit reminds me of Starquake. You need to collect, I'll show you what you need to collect hopefully. You get point bonus as well. Now last time I played this, I gave it the Spectrum. So, but somebody said I was a little bit unfair and I haven't actually played the actual loading of the game. So I thought, okay, let's have a look what it's like compared to the Commodore version. Will it change my mind? Will it? I doubt it. But we'll give it a good play. I did find that the map is exactly the same and the game looks pretty much the same as the Spectrum, but there was something in the colours that wasn't quite great, of course. Right. I've dropped it and died. So you'll start at the fading of the screen wasn't the best, was it? Oh, and that ice is not good, but it's a bonus, so I'll collect it. That's energy, okay, that's cool. And you need to get a device to throw at him. So once you've located him in the map, you know where he is. And I'll see if I can find some of them devices, of course. I noticed the jump on the Commodore is slightly higher than the Spectrum version. And the screen is indeed very fractionally more wider, which makes travelling up the screen a little bit less difficult. Of course, you've got a certain amount of energy and ridiculous amount of lives, which is good because this game is by far no means easy. It's a little bit of a frustrating game, especially when you need to try and get onto the platforms in order to proceed upwards. Going down on this game is quite easy, going up can be quite difficult. Oh, Okay, so we've seen the Commodore version. Let's have a look at the Spectrum version. So Mastertronic did that version. Of course, Bulldog Software did this one. We'll try loading the 128K, but I don't think we'll see anything. But what we will see is a fantastic loading screen, but no playable game. Mastertronic is there as well, so the words Bulldog Software is a bit misleading, so it's Mastertronic. As soon as the game loads on the Spectrum version, you get a chance to redefine your keys. And of course we'll press S to start. Not so much detail in the colour, but the colours are like really vibrant and bright on the Spectrum version. The actual responsibility of the keys respond quite really well. You know, everything's fairly instant. The firing, of course, if you can see those, you have to collect energy in order to fire. By the way, bubbles that burst become nasty, so avoid that. There is a screen you want to avoid in both the games. There's one of those items you can click. Report, okay, grenades one. I've got a grenade, so what I need to do now is go and find that guy that you've got to hit with a certain number of those that are dotted round and destroy him, which, if I remember rightly, some way down here, isn't it? I'm not sure I'm going the right message. Oh, death sequence is fairly interesting, I have to say. Now, I did say that the Commodore one seems to have a slightly higher jump, doesn't it? Is this it yet? No, I can't remember the way. I'm trying to find the way. There's another one. I think I've already been here, haven't I? And I didn't get very far. So I'm working my way around the screen quite quickly. I want to make sure I don't go down the wrong hole, because it's an instant death if you're not too careful. But I'm collecting lots of energy. So the colours are bright. It reminds me that that's Starquake, isn't it? Very similar to Starquake, but without that platform. I keep hitting report. I don't want to report. Thank you very much. The report doesn't cost you a life, but it does put you right back to the start. Oh, I think I'm heading towards disaster. Pending disaster. I think this is the area. No, is it this one? See how easily you can go down the screen, but getting back up can be quite difficult. Yeah. Okay, so what do I prefer? Do I prefer this, or do I prefer this? The colours aren't as vibrant and bright, but there are more than a few colours, say for instance in that just down there where I'm standing next to, compared to the Spectrum one, which, oh, I need that heart. That heart is energy. Oh, you get lots of points, don't you? Let's have a look at the Spectrum one again. Oh, yeah, so let's just looking at that, and that's got a little bit brighter colours in it. So, right, I've played both versions now for a good play, and they're both really good games to play, and apart from that annoying. Advantages the Commodore has, now I've got to try and base this on a decision from what I consider, not what nostalgia does, and I've come to my conclusion. So, who do I think's won the battle of Commodore versus Spectrum between Scumball? Remember last time round, Spectrum won it. This time, with the in-gameable play and the fact I didn't notice the SID sound before, could it be a different verdict? Well, if you haven't guessed already, guess! I've given it the Spectrum. Why? Let me explain myself. The game runs very fractionally smoother, but both versions are really good. So that makes my decision really hard. Great that the Commodore's got an in-game loading game. I like that. While it's loading, you can play a game, just like Joe Blade. But that's not what we're judging here. We're judging the actual game itself. I love the vibrant colours of the Spectrum over the Commodore, which are just so slightly duller. The map and the game are virtually identical in most ways, playability wise as well as, you know, but I've got to judge this from my point of view, and I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. I've played the Commodore for a number of hours, although I've already played the Spectrum game for timeless amount, and I've come to the conclusion that, well, I actually like the Spectrum version better. So on this occasion, I've given it to the Spectrum, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, Commodore guys, but it's still, in my opinion, the better of the two versions. It's a tough decision to come to because there's not really that much in them. Right. Got a big shout out to Richard Hollins, who's an online supporter of my channel and always looks after me. The same, of course, to Ricky from YouMakerRobots.com, Peter from ZX Renew. Go there for your Spectrum hardware, etc. And give a big shout out to all those other YouTubers such as Lady Decade, Top Hat Gaming Man, and the Retro Man Cave I like to watch as well, Nostalgia Nerd, Kim Justice, Octavius King, and of course Mark fluxes lots of stuff. I mean, fixes stuff. And great online sponsors of the show are Hotshot Snooker as well as Dean Jones's Cubes. So if you've enjoyed today's show and you want to see more, please give me a like, subscribe and share, and hopefully I'll rewind. We sort of got back to a few games that you may have forgotten about, especially that fighting game. Wasn't too bad at all, was it, that? Thank you to Matthew Logue for the bleeper sound, AY sound in the back, and of course there's a few people that give me, Richard Hollins gives me some bleeper music, isn't that right, Emo? He's got his battery back, he's got his mojo back in there, he's going to start giving it some manoeuvres, look. I could leave it like that, couldn't I? Right, as always, it's a pleasure. This is a Retro Robbins production by Retro Robbins himself, who is me, Wayne. I'll make this as I go up. I'll make this as I go along. Do I? I'll make this up as I go along. Oh, I've been tripping over my words today. There might be an outtake of that, actually, when I first started recording the show. Let's end the show on that note. So, depending on when you watch this, have a nice working week or weekend. And long live our retro, long live the Commodore Spectrum and all the new machines. In the meantime, from me, Wayne, it's bye from me. And of course, it's bye from me for Emo. Take care all. See you again soon. Oh, boy, have I been tripping over my words here. What do you reckon, Emo? Shall I stick that in the outtakes? You watch someone who's bound to comment, oh, you meant, well, since that time, then you normally do. Scrap these.